Thank you for staying with us. Afrobeat musician Seun Kuti, son of popular musician Fela Kuti, has been arrested and is currently being detained at the State Criminal Investigation Department, popularly known as Banti, in Lagos State, over an alleged assault on a police officer. Seun Kuti, in a video clip which went viral on Saturday, showed him pushing a policeman who stood beside a police van and proceeded to slap him. Meanwhile, his lawyer, Adenka Olumide Fushika, has accused the Nigeria Police Force Lagos Command of maltreating his client, Seun Kuti, when he voluntarily turned himself in on Monday. Mr. Olumide Fushika also stated in a press release that the decision of the police to handcuff Mr. Kuti is illegal, as it constitutes a violation of Section 5 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Law. He added that the legal team is awaiting the next move of the police on the misdemeanor alleged against Seun Kuti. But joining us in the studio is a lawyer and cultural activist, Barrister Tosin Akonde. Good morning.
Yeah, morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
And via Zoom is a hostile environment close protection operations trainer, Femi Aratokun Ale. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Veronica.
Good morning.
Calling my name real good this time around, and good morning, Nigerians.
Good to see you.
Right. Now, let's begin with you, Femi. What your interpretation of that situation was when you watched that video?
Thank you so much, Veronica. Let me start from this context for you, or let me put it this way. A good country needs a good security, and a good security depends on how we plan and structure it. Nigeria has been, for a long time, clamoring for good reforms within our security sector. Nigeria has been shouting and yelling for good governance within our security sector. And I think this very incident has really shown us that, yes, it's either we get it right for the last time, or it's just going to be like, you know what, we've done it, we've done everything we can do, but there is no more solution to it. But at this very point in time, I can tell you, yes, there is a lot of solutions on board. Yes, the security operatives are working. And let me just give a very good kudos to the police officer who has, I don't really know what happened, but he acted professionally, and a lot of people saw it. And that is exactly what the whole country is really, really talking about. And for the first time, yes, they don't like the police, but for the first time, they are in support of the police action, and they are in support of what the police officer did by remaining calm and not even raising up his hands to probably use his uniform or use his office to equally retaliate back to Seun Kuti.
All right. Tosin, let me come to you in the studio. The point there is a lot of Nigerians have reacted to this incident that took place. And as it is right now, we hear, as at yesterday, that he has been detained already. He's been arrested or invited by the police or arrested, whichever.
He turned himself in.
But he's under the custody of the police right now. Now, I wonder what you make of this circumstance right now. One of his lawyers is saying that there's a violation of his rights by handcuffing him, someone who has already turned himself in. Talk to us from the eyes of the law in that regard. What does it mean? When someone of this kind, not necessarily of his status, but someone has come to say, okay, you were looking for me, you invited me, or you were looking for me, here I am. And in the eyes of the law, he's still innocent until he's found guilty or proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction, as you people will say.
True.
So talk to us from that window. How has his right been violated by being handcuffed?
Thank you so much for having me here. The beauty of the whole thing is that as an individual, it's normal. There's a presumption that you begin to have sentiments, on any issue. But that's where the professionalism has to come in. As a lawyer, I had my reservations about his conduct first. Before we go to anything in the interest of that supports or that tends to, place one behind SK. I will call him SK fondly because Seun Kuti is SK. All right. So before I will do any such thing for him, I'll have to first of all make sure that he himself is clean. He hasn't come clean. So the first issue is not really about the violation of the young man's acts, the violation of his rights. It's first and foremost about the holistic view. When I saw that video, my first reaction was that of, my God, why would this guy do this? And this is the point that I've stressed. Everyone, including you and I and Veronica, everyone who graces the TV screens on a regular basis has got to realize that I am a mega source of influence on several other young people. Africa, by extension, particularly Nigeria, has been through a lot of disruption of societal peace. Anything that embraces violence should be done away with from amongst us. I have seen the video. I've watched it here again before we came on air. And I was like, no, he's got to face the music. You see, the times in which Fela, first and foremost, I told a friend, I said, Fela wasn't a father to Seun and Femi and Sister Yeni alone. He was a father to a lot of us.
A lot of people.
All right, so nobody should just say, okay, let's take it away from Fela and bring it down home. And then what do you make of it? Do you now say, okay, he should be let off the hook? If you can't do the time they used to teach us back then in the faculty, if you cannot spend the time, don't dare the crime. This is unwholesome. This is not good. This is not good for our children at all. And everybody has said kudos. I have to also lend my voice for giving kudos to that policeman. In the face of provocation, that's another, what's the name of the last political act that did that? Sometime in 2015, when Godswill Orubebe was making noise. And, okay, it was the INEC chairman at that time, who just remained calm in the face of all the provocation. Okay, so for me, I would not want to, yeah, fine, he's been handcuffed, it's wrong, it's okay, but that would be my first point of call. For me, the thing is about equity. They say he who must do equity has to come clean, with clean hands. That's where I'll leave it for now.
Okay. Right, but then behind the scene, the reports we're getting, even from his manager, his manager said that it was the policeman that hit Seun's car, and in the process, his daughter got the shock, and that was why he reacted. You know, so saying that he was provoked by the action of the police, and that when he got out of the vehicle, he confronted the policeman, who was now talking to him in a manner he did not like, and that was why he reacted in this manner. That is what the manager said.
Okay, but then there's a difference between what people say. In fact, there's always been that dichotomy of expressions and conduct.
Right.
Again, if we have to fall back to law, in the faculty of law, one of the first things we were taught was learn to distinguish issues, learn to appropriate the differences. Two issues are never going to be exactly on all fours. Never. Now you have said that he hit you from behind, no problem. But what you now put up was what we describe as disproportionate force. Someone has slapped you, for instance, and then you shot at him. That's disproportionate.
Right. Someone
has just verbally abused you, mere verbal abuse, and then you have hit him with his cudgel. It's wrong. What SK did is wrong. I am a fellow apologist. Or, you know, you don't transfer, just like in law again. We have to take a lot of things from different branches of knowledge. Just like I say again in law, that you don't transfer criminal liability. We all love Fela, but this action by Fela's son must be totally condemned.
And in fact, in the eyes of even if Fela were here, I believe that Fela would not be taking responsibility for the action of the child.
At all. That's what I'm saying. You can't criminally transfer.
The son is an adult and has his own identity.
As his identity.
Fela has his own identity, as the case may be. So,
you know, so it's very wrong. And again, the point I am making, we can't overstress it. If you are a celebrity, you cannot You just you just have to try, sorry, to live above board. Yes, we understand there's nobody holy pass, like a particular act says. Nobody holy pass. But then that measure of responsibility must be borne by you, for God's sake. Celebrities abroad or elsewhere, don't act that way. You don't. You resort to self-help. You don't try to help yourself. You have grievance procedures lined out. I've always said it, that Nigeria, we are not in any way litigious. All our laws, Veronica, I look at your coach, all our laws are beautiful, but they have not been tried.
Perhaps the process of justice, the road to justice is a tortuous one.
But we just have to, go on to it. It's a long walk from freedom. We are in Africa. We have to understand that a lot of things surround our existence and our being. All right, now I'm trying to look at this issue. I made up my mind that I'll not look at it strictly from the position of the law alone. Because there are so many other things that make up the human being.
Absolutely.
If you look at the family of the person we're talking about, we know they are icons. We know there are people who will say, oh, we won't agree to this. But then the climb in which Fela, particularly himself, operated was military. We are no longer in a military era. We are now in a dispensation of civility. We want some kind of decorum. We want some peace. If you disagree with any issue, you know the right place to go. I overheard you when you were talking about some Nigerians. You go to court. You don't do this.
Right.
So I am of the opinion that, SK, you are someone we all love because of Fela especially, but you got to face the music. As a deterrent, you must act as a deterrent for others. But then, as we say also in the courts, you say, my Lord, you temper justice with mercies. All right? So we've seen some of these things that are wrong. We'll go through it. We will have a field day in court. It's a crime. I overheard Vero, when she was narrating, part of the build-up to the story, she said, maybe some people said misdemeanor. It's not a misdemeanor. It's a felony. It's more serious than a misdemeanor. If it was a misdemeanor, then the punishment would not exceed 6 months. It will not be, it will not be less than 6 months. But
Or say a fine.
Or a fine. But as a felony, it's either imprisonment or not more than 3 years imprisonment. So if he has spent 1 day in detention, detention is different from imprisonment.
Yeah.
And then the lawyer is coming. We respect to him as a colleague of mine. I would say that we have to do equity, and this is not the time you say his rights have been violated. You have to first of all look at the import of what our brother has done. I call him my brother. I used to tell, for instance, my wife that I love you does not mean I can't stand my feet firmly on the ground. That here you've done something wrong.
It's also an expression of love.
It's an expression of love,
Exactly.
Teachability.
Of course.
And I'm also ready if the roles were to be reversed.
Of course. It will even be for your own good. For me to stamp my foot down and say, no, it has to be this way.
Yes.
For the sake of, whatever the thing is.
Yes.
Right. Okay, let's, Femi, I know you're still there. The point there is, speak to us from the window of anger management as people who are, say, celebrities and all of that. Now, there's nothing special about people who are celebrities in the context of the moment you rise to that level, you are excellent in your endeavor and you're recognized, you become celebrity. But there is no school to say, okay, the moment you're a celebrity, you go to a school to become celebrity. It's just a status of recognition of the excellence of what you do. However, like Tosin was saying in the studio, the moment you rise to that level, there is some kind of obligation. It's unwritten. Where people just look up to you for certain things. You are supposed to live above board. You're supposed to, there's some certain requirements, expectation people look up to you for. Speak to us from that window. And when it comes to public outburst or outcry or expressions, these are some of the things that have played out. Speak to us from that window as to how to manage anger for especially persons who are what one may call high profile.
Okay, thank you, Mike. And Mr. Tosin, we need to say one thing. Thank you so much for at least, sitting on the fence and not playing a part of, okay, I will ask from the professional angle of the law and everything. Anger management is a very serious word, and it's being derived from a particular topic called customer service. However, In customer service, we've actually derived another sector, another segment, another subject called security customer service. What police ought to have done in the past, and I believe this will sink into their heads right now, especially within their department, is what we call security customer service management. The police officer did so well, but one thing seems to be missing, and which I'm bringing on board right now. Mike, look at me very well. What I'm actually putting on here is a device that can actually go around all police officers, especially those patrolling the beats. This simple device will have really maybe helped to de-escalate what SK said, according to Tosin. Why? Because once the police officer switches this on, trust me, when you tell him or her that, look, you are under the recording of the law guiding us, in case if you do anything, you're being recorded and this will be used against you in prosecuting whatever you say or do. That could have equally de-escalated the situation that day, but it never happened. Why? Because we do not have this. The only piece of evidence that is available to the whole world right now is the telephone recording from a passerby. Now, my question is this: where are we with a simple technology that will have helped in so many police cases, in so many cases that a lot of members are really asking that, police have done this, what have they done? This one, that one. There are no evidence. Some are just recorded and being dished out. But if we have customized stuff like this for our police officers, our civil defense, our security agents across board, a lot of cases will be dealt with in a more civil way compared to what we're having today. So the anger management part of it is this: SK must equally go for anger management course as part of the orientation that he must be given as part of, look, we want you to be part of the society. We want you to be part of those agitating and asking for a reform in the police. So you have to be part of the system now. You have to be part of the solution, and you must be part of the experiment for us to show to our kids, your followers, everybody, that, look, I have done wrong, but this is the right way to go. Let us leave that aside. Now, what happens to the police van or the police chase or, whatever vehicle they were using? Where is the security dash cam again? We do not have all this. These are apparatus that we need to have in our police patrolling around so that there will be more civility, more security, more sanitization, more honesty and transformation and transparency in our police system. But we don't have it. The question is, where are the budgets? Where has it gone to? Are we going to start right now that we have a series of cases lying down? Because a lot of people are equally saying one thing, that yes, we know SK has done wrong, but what about the police? So how do we defend them? I love my Nigerian police force. I do training for them for free. Each time I come to Nigeria, I deliver for them for free because I want to see a country that will work very well in where I am over here. We work freely with the police. We do stuff with them. We give each other ideas. Sometimes when they come to my areas, they will ask me, what do we need to do here? What do we need to do here? I will be the one in charge, controlling them, telling them what to do. That doesn't mean that I don't respect them or they do not respect me. But in Nigeria, we see police as in the moment they are with that uniform, you cannot talk to them at all. But in this case, as I've said, and I'll keep saying it, the police officer with SK did so well, and I think it deserves an award, no matter which award, either from the Lagos state government or from the federal government. Something must be done to show that, yes, if you do the right thing, you will be honored. That is one thing we need to look into. Again, let us look at it this way. SK has been taken to the police station. Part of the reforms, has he been given anything like medical checks? Is he under the use of, maybe has he got drugs or medication he must be using in the morning or night or whatever? We do not know. These are part of the rights you are talking about that I'm trying to bring on board. And this is equally going to be part of the security customer service. That means despite the fact that he's been charged and being under their custody, they are equally looking after him very well. Don't forget, when Seun is back from wherever he is right now in Panti, he's going to go on the live show and say a whole lot either positive or negative about the police.
All right. Let's
Take
bring
that
the,
away from me.
all right, let's bring the conversation to the studio, Tosin. I need you to react to all that Femi has said. He's saying that if the police had had the right gadget on, perhaps that could have de-escalated whatever the situation was at the time. If SK knew that he was being recorded, if he knew that the vehicle of the policeman had a dash cam, that could have, tempered the whole tension.
Femi, with due respect to you, that is, excuse me, that's going to be totally untenable. I won't say unacceptable. We're talking about anger here, and you're talking about a device. Someone who is really angry will go for the device first, and in order to destroy evidence. You know that you are being filmed or being recorded. That's the first thing. Destroy the evidence.
The recording, the
All right.
moment you see the recording,
Femi, hang on. Femi, hang on.
Hang on, we'll come back to you.
It's all right, my brother. You're a great guy. No doubt about that. But I'm just trying to, it's an ordinary, it's a commonsensical next step. Okay, I want to do some malfeasance. I want to create some nuisance value. And then you are probably filming me. I will know. It's self-evidential. It's self-evident. I will know that that thing, you are using it for a purpose. That's why some even use smaller objects like biros. And they just keep it in their pockets. That is not visible to the one who is the aggressor. But when you are putting on such a very large device, and then you are talking to them, the only thing that officer did not do that wowed me was he didn't try to disarm him, because I know that if it was elsewhere, the officer, presumably 6 foot tall, you see them, if you see the police in the US, you want to join the police. They will disarm you, telling you, oh, sir, please behave properly. Don't try to be bold. They will disarm you. They will make a mess of you. So, but now he didn't do that. That's one. Two, I know where Mr. Femi is speaking from. As a security consultant, of course, your priorities will be on, let's equip these guys. But we are talking about a country where we have our nuances. Everybody knows. Budget for training is always halved, not just at the state, in governance issues, even in the private sector. We all know this. So we just have to work with what is made available to us. But this is not the best that would have come from a high-profile Nigerian like SK, as Mike said a while ago. All right, that we're looking at so many other dimensions, like I said. Culturally, this is not in sync with our original African people's mindset.
Absolutely.
This is not in sync. The Yorubas will say, "Iwa bija gidija gan." Then I'm trying to be careful. I was telling myself as I was coming, I will use that word, ruffian. I don't know, maybe you now know, people hardly use it anymore.
Yes.
But then it's an old cliche. But I was trying to work on it. Ruffian, it's onomatopic. It's not good English. I say it's not Queen's English. But the way it sounds, you can tell what they are describing. Oh, you are a ruffian. Somebody who lives in rough times and in rough attitudes, rough climes, So this is the attitude of a ruffian. This is not acceptable.
Femi, you wanted to react to what Tosin was saying. Go ahead now.
Why I'm just trying to react to what Tosin said was so simple that when you say the police did not defend himself or whatsoever, it's still part of the reforms. How many of them seems to have what you call the self-defense training program in this kind of situation? At least basic self-defense program. You can see how SK encroached and occupied the space completely. There is no one arm's length distance or whatever. So the training is now so important. And look at where they are at that very particular point in time. Something else could have happened. Someone could have just probably thrown each other down straight to the water. How many of them understand swim safety and all the rest? These are part of the key things we've studied, and we know it's high time we need to start prioritizing how we deliver training programs to all our security officers across the board. Again, let us talk about all these celebrities as well. They need to understand one thing. Once you have a security officer on your side, maybe to protect you or whatsoever, you need to at least listen to him. It boils down to one thing, and which has really transpired right now. A lot of celebrities are in the same boat like SK, that they will just talk anyhow to our police officers, our close protection officers, and the likes of them, as if they are nobody but you still want them to give you the proper protection you need. So how do you justify this? How do you balance this? They want the proper welfare. You need to respect them, because if you don't respect them, there is no way they're going to respect you. And with this now, I wonder how the SPU unit in Nigeria will start working with our VIPs in Nigeria in terms of, you need to understand the fact that all these guys that are protecting you are equally human beings. They are our brothers and sisters and uncles as well. So we need to balance this act. And that is why someone in Lagos State has actually advocated for what you call the Lagos State Security Industry Authority, just like what we have in UK as the SIA. So the question is, why is it not there now? Why are we not passing it on? So that would be like a benchmark. We need a benchmark that all security will follow as a standard. We do not have a standard in Nigeria. The Nigerian police doesn't have the standard as well, because they've been overworked. Some of them do more than 24 hours. In even 24 hours, in even a day, they do more than 24 hours. So that means they have been overstretched. We need to look for a way to sanitize this system.
Okay. Well, Tosin, Femi has talked much about the issue of training and how to make the system better and all of that. I know that you could see things from a different perspective, especially when we have our peculiarities in Nigeria. One would say, okay, fine, of course, the UK or Europe has a standard when it comes to all of those
But
things.
listen,
Nigeria is still a developing country where if you want to juxtapose them against each other, one is up, one is down. Or maybe if you don't want to put up and down, one is on the left, one is on the right.
Yeah.
Depending on how you want to see it.
It will be seriously unfair.
So speak to us from that. If Nigeria has what it takes right now to begin to organize or to begin to act in that kind of way, especially the standard that Femi is talking about.
You see, there is what we call minimum standards. And I have to tell you that the policing we have at the moment meets that requirement. It's minimum. The only problem is that it's not as... my brother here is being, in my opinion, being elitist in his policing thought patterns. All right? So, like fella, let me use SK's father's words. On a light note now, I can see you smiling. On a lighter note now, I see that means to say you're not there for Nigeria, be that at all. You see yourself, you're not there for Africa. You're just coming from England, from New York, from Birmingham. So because these are
telling you, I'm coming back for you very soon.
It's all right.
So these are the realities here. And the only thing we have to teach Nigerians and ourselves how to make the most of everything. Some people will come with a very extremist positions. They say, let's overhaul the constitution. I'll be looking at them. You don't do that. You can't afford to have a society that is lawless. The only thing is, thank God we are consoled. There is a degree, there's what we call oracular theory of law. Even if the papers, if what is written is so satanic, demonic, so condemnable, the people who will interpret it, that is where they come in, the judges. And we've been blessed with people like that, of blessed memory. The late Oputa, Justice Oputa, Charlie Boy's father, he was a brilliant, was Socratic in his delivery. Late Kardashew, who coined that phrase, executive recklessness. These are great jurists. So that is where it's a dichotomy of what is written and the person who is going to administer the law. And that's why I can predict an attribute of law that is fantastic is predictability. You can't put people in a situation where they don't know what next. It's not nice. The law, I can predict very clearly. Thank God the matter is not in court yet, so it's not sub judice. So I'm not making comments that could implicate me or interfere with the administration of justice. I see him being let off the hook. It may not be nice. It may not go down well with a particular Facebook user who, because I came here, I put it on my Facebook wall that I'll be here talking about this issue. And somebody was saying, like, my brother noted that he enjoys my neutrality. And a fellow came on board and said, no, it shouldn't be. We can't afford to be neutral. We can't sit on the fence. How about the millions of other Nigerians who have, I said, I know the police have been brutal to police brutality everywhere, but it's not only in Nigeria. But this particular conduct too cannot go. like that. We just have to condemn it.
Why do you think?
Now,
why do you think he'll be let off the hook?
It's predictability. You see, at the end of the day, he will spend some time. He may not spend all the necessary time. Even judges. Look, a lot of you don't know how we operate. The judges are human beings. Law is made for man. Man wasn't made for law.
Right.
These are very important fundamentals that must be established before everybody. Now, the judges are human beings. They are looking at your mien. If SK goes to court, which I expect he should be prosecuted, if he gets to court and the judge looks at his countenance, he looks at his comportment, does he seem to be sorry at all for what he did?
Remorseful.
Is he remorseful? If the judge can affirmatively say, yes, he is, he can tell you that, okay, I'll give him the minimum punishment. And then they'll tell him, go serve 3 months, it's all right, or 6 months, you know, as the case may be, depending on the leniency of the judge. And then he says, with community service, play with kids in certain schools, maybe public schools, interact with them, teach them some of those things you failed to do when you were working with a police officer. And the funniest thing is that Nigerian police can be some of the nicest. I encountered them on the road several times, and then you are smiling. And then they say, okay, Oga, wait till you chop prevent. Oh, it's all right. Well, I'm not giving you bribe because you've not found me wanting, but have this 500 naira just for some coke. We will support you guys. You are doing well. It's not bribery. I'm saying it on TV because I know it's not bribery. He hasn't found me wanting. I'm only being nice to the fellow. And then understanding.
But a lot of Nigerians will see from a different perspective, especially the line you say, wait till you chop remain.
Well, these are our realities now. They hear us. The IGP is watching this, I'm sure. So they hear us. Doesn't Mr. Femi too know that they need training? They need, but the fact that they need training does not mean that we should go all out and condemn them. Even the area boys. You see, that's the thing. You have to be as large-hearted as you can to make the most of significant contributions in human history. You have to have a large heart that can accommodate as diverse people as possible. Even in HR in the office, we talk about diversity issues. So these are the things. This one is like this one is like this one is like Kolo. Let me use that word. This one is Kolo, and then this one is not Kolo. You manage everybody for the ultimate goal. The Nigerian situation has to be managed. We know there's tension in the land, but look at the comportment of that officer, for instance. Is he not still in this same place where some people will sit down in their offices in New York and in Paris, and then they will say, this is a jungle. How can a jungle produce that kind of police officer? So these are the things we are saying. It's a mix. It's a mix, but we have to sort them all out. We can't afford to lump up all issues together. SK was wrong. If he's going to be punished in the end, if he shows that he's sorry, look at, he turned himself in. He was accompanied by a family relative. They have begun to talk to him. Okay. He probably must have seen that he's wrong. And there's no judge who is in his right elements will say, I will make sure. We don't go for an overkill. We don't. We don't go for an overkill. We just take it easy. He's remorseful. It's all right. I just go spend some 6 months, not with hard labor. There is imprisonment with hard labor. They'll say, no, but not with hard labor. Just render community service, which is not so popular here in Nigeria yet. I don't know why, but it's okay. Mix with some children in some schools, relate with people, do charitable works, and then you'll be let off the hook in the end.
All right, Femi, let me come to you now. There are those who have said that this matter speaks to the image of the police force, how some Nigerians view the Nigerian police force. Now, if we are looking to improve that, we have a new administration coming in. How would you want us to address that matter?
Thank you so much. You see, prior to the election, during the election, and now that is after the election, a lot of diverse charity organizations are beginning to have behind those meetings, as in what they want to do to support this new administration coming up in Nigeria. And equally, I myself, Oluwafemi Aratukwale, will definitely come in as well. You see me, Mike. Veronica, you see me. You even be part of my training. But let me just say one thing before I go straight to that. Mr. Tosin, I love your street language. I never knew you can go all the way out as in a street man and still, comport everything you've said. That is exactly the kind of diversity we want. And you've actually showcased that to me today. Not that I can't go all the way out as a street man to do everything, but sometimes you just have to, like, Jenny Suruno, ma, take them easy. might not go that way because a lot will happen. So I would definitely want to see you even in my class because you seem to have a lot to offer. But nevertheless,
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
nevertheless, as I'm saying, nevertheless, honestly speaking, we need to put more into the investment of retraining our police officers to change the image and to put them to exactly what we want them to be. It is not just only going to be the government, it's not going to be the governors, it's not going to be the councillors or just the commissioners. Everybody must join hands together if we want Nigeria to work. That is why the first thing we need to really change about them is what we call the orientation. The orientation with the member of the public, the orientation with the man, the woman walking the streets, their attitude towards how they search people, how they talk to people must start changing. If nothing is seen as a case study, this police officer with SK must be a case study to all criminology and security studies in the country today.
That's right.
Because he has shown a whole lot that they need to emulate from. The guy wasn't with a gun. He never went back to his vehicle to pick up his assault rifle because we don't normally use sidearms over here. So if he has really shown a whole lot, like, you know what? I don't know what's going on, but fortunately, video camera was recording the whole thing. So we have a lot to do in reorientating them. And not only that, I think SK, just like you said, Mr. Tosin, must be ready to work alongside with the National Orientation Agency in going to schools and probably some other community areas where we think they used to have a lot of fracas, a lot of whatever, with the police and everything, even schools, just like you mentioned, tertiary institutions, whenever there is riot and whatever, Seun must do more. He has already put his family in a very bad spot, and we need to see how to move it from the negativity back to positivity. I think that is what we need. And we want to encourage all other celebrities to come around and support him. He can't do it all alone because a lot of them enjoy the largesse of police officers as protection unit or protection security around them. So now if this can happen, then we will have a serious problem in our hands to solve. Right. Having said that, we have a lot of organizations that will be coming in to deliver programs for free, for free, to help the police, to help individuals, to help schools. So why not let's just try and see how we can make this work. Nigerians are only begging, let us see how we can change the image of our police officers. We want them. If we don't want them, do we want the thugs? Do we want the agberos or whatever? We don't need all these. So if we still want the police that we've seen showcasing themselves now, let us work hand in hands with them. A lot of them are there. Panache and ASF, different organizations
we have to wrap things
are coming
up
together. That's what we need.
All right. Thank you so much, Femi Aratokun Ale, Hostile Environment Close Protection Operations Trainer. We must thank you for your time, and we also thank you, lawyer and cultural activist, Barrister Tosin Akonde, for your time on the program as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
One last word, please.
Thank you.
Today is May 16th.
Right.
Just want to say happy birthday to my wife.
Happy birthday
amazing,
to your wife.
amazing. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mrs. Akonde.
Really good, really good.
All right.
We're coming to take the cake. Yes, nice one.
All right.
Nice one.